Hey guys, Forrest Exley, JJP Mechanical Reps in Nashville. We're going to talk about fire dampers, what they do. The biggest question I get asked by engineers is, will a fire damper squish a banana? So we're going to talk about that. But let's talk about what a fire damper is first, just in case anybody doesn't know how a fire damper works. So this is a Greenheck model DFD150A. Alright, what does that mean? It's a dynamic one, so we'll talk about dynamic versus static. We'll talk about hour ratings. We'll talk about the direction that the blade closes. We'll talk about A, B, and C type, and then we'll talk about a couple of options that you can get. All right, so this is dynamic. In a dynamic system, the blade has a spring that will help it close so that if air is blowing through this in a fire event, it can close against the pressure of the air. So it helps it to pull it closed. All right, and a static one, when this fusible link up here melts, which all a fusible link is, two pieces of metal soldered together, and at a predetermined temperature, those will separate and let the curtain fall. So in a static one, this will just fall due to gravity. Okay, the fan has to be off though in that type system for that to work. All right, if we mount it like floor to floor, so this would be horizontal. Horizontal versus vertical is the direction that the blade moves. All right, so this would be a horizontal mount. The other way would be a vertical mount because the blade would go that way. Okay, so a horizontal mount has to have a spring even in a static system. Okay, so just because you see a spring, don't assume dynamic. Could be a horizontal mount. There's always, there should be stickers in the unit or on the outside or something that tells you which direction is up and what that's designed for. Okay. So, event of a fire comes down here, it melts this closes, and it keeps the fire on the other side of this. This is a 1.5 hour rated damper. What that means is that it's good up to 2 hours and 59 minutes because the next rating is a 3 hour, and that will go beyond that. So if you have a 2 hour rated wall, a 1.5 hour damper that UL listed will do the job for you there. All right. This is an A type, which means that the blade is in the airflow and the frame is in the airflow. So air's coming down here, it's nice and happy, and then it hits this obstruction and it gets turbulent, creates a static pressure drop. Static pressure is the enemy when it comes to fans and energy efficiency and things like that. All right, so things that I would urge you to consider are a type B or a type C. A type B is going to have a little hat on the top, and this blade is going to suck up into that hat. So as the air comes down, it's got a smooth transition and it doesn't have this, 2-inch drop down of the blade and the airstream. A type C has it's not a hat if it goes all the way around, right? But it has an extension all the way around so that this frame and the blade are recessed so that it's a straight shot. It's 12 inches straight through the middle. Could be 14, 16 inches, the hole that you would put it in, right? So think about that as you're working with architects and people who are making holes in your building. Be sure that you accommodate for that. Use a type B or a C. So that's that. One option that you can see here is this little switch. So this switch would tell you, you could link it back to your BAS and you could have it say, hey, this damper's closed. You might want to check that out if you've got airflow issues. There's really no reason that it should close, but you could end up with an obstruction. You could end up with something bumping this. You could have a guy crawling through, breaking into the building and smoking in there and releasing that. You could have all kinds of things like that. All right, some other options that you can get. We have this breakaway flange on the front. All right, so this slides into the wall. Your duct mounts to this right here, and your duct would have a matching piece that looks like this. A lot of times people will use bolts through these corners, and then there's clamps that go and would clamp on these. You can leave the bolts. You can even use the bolts to secure it. The bolts will pull through these holes if you use the right small size bolts as recommended. They will actually pull through these. These corners are designed to tear away, so you don't have to go through the extra labor and expense of pulling those out if you don't want to. The clips will secure it. We can supply this spot welded to it, or you could get them and screw it in with sheet metal screws in the field if you wanted to. This is held into a wall by angle iron things. Ours are called POCs, piece of cake. Other manufacturers might have other names for them. Basically, it's a piece of angle iron that wraps all the way around. You screw it into the sides of this, you would do the same thing on the back, and you would sandwich it in. So if you use 2 of those to sandwich it in, you do not screw it to the wall. You want it to float within the wall. Sometimes, though, it's hard to get to the back, or maybe you just want to save labor and not have to go around to the back side. It is allowed to drill through the front of that angle iron. So you got a piece of angle iron here, you drill through the front and you secure it both to the sleeve and to the wall. That is acceptable, but know that sometimes code officials don't know that that's acceptable, and they might give you trouble about it. So just check on that and be ready to have that discussion. We'd love to help you have that discussion if it comes to that. So factory mount, you can do those. You can do them in the field. Now the thing that we've all been waiting for, will it squish a banana? See if we can get the lighter to work. I haven't tried this, so I don't know if it'll work, but I hope it will. It's glowing a little bit. This is taking way too long, I'm sorry. Alright, forget that method. Let's do it this way. We'll just short circuit that, right? Will it squish a banana? Ready, set. Won't squish a banana, but it would close if you had 4 inches of static pressure going through here, flowing through there. It would definitely do that. There's the damage on the banana. So you don't want to stick your hand in there while you're doing the test, but it will not chop your banana fingers off. So anyway, I hope this was informative. I hope it was helpful. Please give us a shout if we can do anything to be helpful. We're going to have some other videos about fire smoke dampers and some of the other things that we offer. So stay tuned. Thanks.